Boom. Hey everyone, what's happening? Vito La Fata here with the Fitnesspreneur's Life, and I'm fired up to bring to you Eric Malzone, co-founder of the Fitness Marketing Alliance and host of the Future Fitness podcast. And I was blessed to get to meet Eric through Doug Holt, a good buddy from the old days in the Todd Durkin Mastermind, and been probably one of my top introductions the end of last year into this year about movers and shakers in the industry. So I'm excited, Eric, to have you on the show and dig into some really key topics, because I know you guys are hard working on this idea of we've got to get out of this crash diet marketing epidemic that we got going on in the industry. And we've got to level up the conversation about getting into the digital age. I know these are two topics hot on your plate. What is freaking moving and shaking with you, brother?
A lot of things, Vito. Thank you for having me, man. I'm really excited. Anytime I get an opportunity to talk to you, I feel my energy raise like 10 levels. So this isn't caffeine. This is just Vito being around Vito that fires me up. So I'll give you a little bit about my background because I think it's important. So I'm not going to get into my full history, but I'm a NorCal native, and I was born and raised in a little place you may be familiar with called the Silicon Valley. So I started, I was born in Saratoga, California. I grew up to that time. I started sports at the age of 5 competitively, primarily because I had asthma. So I started in swimming, and I hated it until I found water polo, and I started playing water polo, which was a great career for 20 years, played all the way through college for club teams after school. So fitness, health, athletics has always been a huge part of my life. After school, I got into various forms of sales and marketing. So you name it, real estate, selling radio ads, that's a whole nother chapter, which is really interesting. Let's see what else. Legal publishing content. I sold that for a while. So I sold a lot of things. And then eventually in 2008, I got a text message from a long-term friend and college teammate, Trevor Bone. And it was, hey man, do you want to open a gym? And this was 2008, right? So we were still hunting and pecking on our phone. So it was like 111-333, right? If you wanted to, you remember, if you wanted, it was during a happy hour. So I'm like, let me get back to you. Had a couple beers. And you know what? Yeah, I do. I really want to open a gym.
Oh, so beers suckered you in.
Yeah. And it was, CrossFit was very hot. I had just started it. I was doing it 3 days a week at Kristen Lane's gym, which is Jack LaLanne's grandnephew. And at that point, we started doing some planning. We started deciding, hey, where do we want to go? Like, where do we want to open this gym? And at that point in time, for people who follow CrossFit, it was the wild, wild west. People were literally going to different areas, staking claims, and like, this is my space, and building their businesses. And we looked at a couple things, where we want to live and who had a good designated CrossFit gym. And Santa Barbara came to the top of the list. So at that point, I kind of broke up with my girlfriend at the time and said to all my friends, I'm leaving San Francisco. And we were only dating for 3 months. And I packed all my things. And at 10 p.m. at night, I drove all the way down to Santa Barbara. And with a huge, it was a beautiful drive. It was at night. So I'm white knuckling over the 154, right? Trying to get with my trailer behind me. And yeah, that was it, man. We just started hustling. We started knocking on doors, started building that business. And it was great. I love it. I loved being a gym owner. I loved working with people one-on-one. I loved the group. I loved the community, all those things. But at one point last year, some personal things happened in my wife and I's life in 2016 that really made us stop and think about life as a big picture. Like, what do we want to be doing? Are we doing what we want to do? Are we traveling enough? Are we doing all the things that we truly bring us joy and passion? And the answer was not here. We're always escaping to the mountains. We're always doing all these things that weren't involved around Santa Barbara. And as much as we loved our community there, we made a big decision that the only thing really holding us down was the gym. And that's when I decided, it's time. It's time for me to kind of separate from this. So I sold it to my head coach, Danny Russell, who's doing an outstanding job with it now. And I decided to go digital nomad. And here we are. And at that point, meeting Doug too. So everything happened when I talked to Doug, and he had sold his facility and gone digital with his marketing agency and his author of his own story. I took him out to lunch. I'm like, hey, dude, I want to do exactly what you're doing, right? Teach me. And we started throwing around some ideas. We came up with Fitness Marketing Alliance, and yeah, the rest is history, man. Since that point, I've lived in Lake Tahoe. I've lived in Bend, Oregon. I've lived in Vancouver Island, and now I'm enjoying the ski season in Whitefish, Montana. And we plan to go up to Jasper once things start to thaw out. So that's a nutshell. That's my story.
I love it, dude. I mean, there was a couple key things in there that I think are interesting that you really touched on, though, that you're like, there comes a point, all of us in our career, and I remember I had that same exact question, are we doing what we want to be doing? And I remember for me, it was living in Orange County. I was like, I don't want to be living here. I don't want to be stuck in Orange County. I want to be able to have a different life. And the gym was that lack of location freedom. Not that brick and mortar isn't awesome, loved it, had it for 10 years. But at some point when you're growing, you probably ask yourself, are we doing what we don't? And can I create that more the way I want when you're trying to kind of, create your ideal freedom lifestyle and whatnot? And that location freedom is a pull I think so many people are having right now in the world, that it makes them question, am I in the right vehicle to give me that? And that's where I think I like what you guys are calling it, digital nomads. Did I hear that right? Digital nomads?
Digital nomad, yeah. I don't know if I made that up or not. I may have. I don't think I did.
Yeah, no, I love that. And it's freaking killer. And I think that's the allure of the online world. It's just, it's a hard world to get into, because it's just the same as when you had to learn your other businesses, you got to learn this one. But then you said something that I think was freaking so key, that when you saw somebody doing what you want to be doing, and then you just said, I want to do what you're doing. Teach me.
Yeah.
And basically you got a mentor and a coach, because you're like, either I walk the long road alone, or I just put my hand out to the person ahead of me and say, hey, could you shorten this learning curve for me? And I'm willing to pay for it and whatnot. Teach me how to freaking get in there. That's key. And I think that's just so many people unwilling to do that. They rather just keep walking the road or keep doing what they're doing versus turning to somebody that's doing it and be like, shorten my learning curve. Show me the proven path. It's a big difference. I love that you did that out there. So you got involved with that. And so how did the whole like Fitness Marketing Alliance, Future Fitness podcast, how did that direction take shape?
Yeah, so Doug and I got more than a mentor. I mean, Doug is absolutely a mentor, but I also got a business partner. And, we had very similar views on how we want to help the fitness industry. I love working with fitness professionals. So do you. So does Doug. I love it because I think we are, as an industry, on the front lines of all of the epidemics that we're facing right now. There's a ton of stuff going on. I got to interview Jeff Martin from the Brand X, which does youth fitness, and he was telling me things that's going on with today's youth I wasn't even aware of. That's even scarier than obesity or type 2 diabetes. Anyways, getting back to your question is, so we start formulating ideas like, okay, how do we want to help? Where are the problems? Where are the things that are going on in this industry where it's going astray? And in my last year of being a gym owner, I really played with digital marketing because it's so hot, right? It's so hot. And I fell into the crash diet marketing, which is essentially, developing one Facebook funnel and doing this huge burst of maybe it's a 6-week challenge, or, challenges are the big thing, or at least they were last year in 2017. I don't know. We'll see what happens to them this year. The point is people were stuck. They didn't know what to do. They weren't building an overall system that incorporates all of the things that digital marketing is. And they are relying on one leg of the stool. And once that leg gets pulled out, then you're done. I mean, we know it's, as the date of recording, this is the 24th of January. We all know what's going on with the Facebook algorithm. Everybody's freaking out, right? It's not good for local business. Now, if you had taken a set of time and now it's work. Here's the thing. There's no magic pill when it comes to this. You got to do the work. If you want to set up your email systems, if you want proper search engine optimization, if you want to know data and analytics, which probably bores most people to death, but that's where the information is. That's how you know where you're getting your clients. All these things, they incorporate into one amazing system that's yours to keep forever and will turn evergreen with the amount of work. So that was our mission. It's like, let's get people off this crash diet marketing. It's killing the industry. It's burning people out. It's just a huge problem. So that was what we've set out to solve that problem. We've taken responsibility for that problem, and we're going to solve it. We're going to really spread the word on it. And yeah, so from there, now, of course, we've tested how we're going to do that. The method is always different. That's the hard part, right? To figure out how do we deliver that. So we've tried a couple iterations, but now we're on to something really, really good. And man, I just wake up fired up every day, and it's really exciting.
Yeah. I mean, something that I find interesting, that it's kind of like the knock or the wake up call you want to put me, because you said, like, people get bored to death with the data about their marketing and things like that. But yet I'm like, in an industry where most people making $43,000 or less have no lifestyle freedom or anything like that, and they'll nerd the F out on, put that 5-pound plate on that, and we're up 3% on the bench right now. And yet we got 2 more reps out of that. Like, my hypertrophy is going nuts. And they nerd out on that, as compared to the day you said, I'm a business owner, you needed to stop nerding out a little bit less about your 3% bench. And you should be looking at the 3% conversion of your Facebook ad to your opt-in page to your sales page more, so that you can be freaking making the money to go serve the mission that you're on, get your awesome product and services out into the world. But because you're not falling in love with the data that matters to you as the business owner, your business is struggling. And that's why you're jumping and doing the crash dieting. The same way your clients don't want to nerd out on the stuff that you're like, nerd out on the plates and how much reps and how much portion size and whatnot. And they're like, no, I don't really care about that. And you're like, that's why you're not getting results.
Yeah.
They crash diet. Well, that's because our business owners aren't getting into the lifestyle of being a marketer and a business owner. They're jumping to the crash diet tactics of marketing. It's an interesting, what I find, analogy and metaphor is like, I just ask the audience, pause and ponder that for a little bit. It could be the difference between being bankrupt or struggling your whole life, or breaking through to the mid, high 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures and up. It's just, well, you see it all day. You see it all day. Because I have you guys, because the hard thing about data is it's all fucking over the place. And you're just like, I got to log into this. I got to log into that. I got to log into that. And you guys are like creating like a digital dashboard center. How did that, like, why is that becoming the tool that you're aiming people at in this world of helping to minimize like kind of crash diet marketing?
Yeah. So we're huge fans of analogies between fitness and business and marketing, right? And I think you nailed it. If you're working with a client, you're a fitness professional, and you have to be constantly assessing and reassessing what's going on with your client, right? There's no different than your business. Now, people need to go first and figure out what they're going to do with their online business, right? They need to see Vito, right? They need to clarify their vision. That's like step one. That's huge. Now, once you're ready to scale and you have all that figured out, you need to be assessing what's going on in your business. And Doug, Doug's got a big brain on Doug, right? He figured out the software system, and we're using it now. It's a lot of information. And I think the biggest thing with data and analytics, because this is just going to be in the next 5 to 10, 20, 30 years, big data and data collection all within itself is going to be huge. There's just so much of it available. So now here's the question. Okay, if you have the data, what do you do with it?
I was to say, do you know what to do with it?
What do you do? Like, and that's where the analytics part comes in, is you can set up your Google Analytics, and hopefully everybody who has a website has that set up. That's step one. But if it's not set up correctly and the information's not actionable to you, then what do you do with it? It's worthless. You're not paying for anything. So I think, the dashboard that we have, you still have to know what to do with it. And that's the big point, because we can show you how your social media engagement is. We can show you what your competitors are doing. We can show you what keywords they're ranking for. We can see what keywords you're ranking for and where all of your web traffic is coming from. Is it organic? Is it typed in? Is it paid search? Is it all these things? That's extremely valuable information if you know how to use it.
Okay, so let's break that down for a second there, because keywords, traffic, data. Because exactly, if you don't educate a person on what the data means, it's pretty useless. But
right.
People hear these kind of words like keywords, hopefully they know what traffic means, but the keywords, they don't understand, like, oftentimes, why is Google Analytics important? Why are keywords important? So let's give them a little, like, crash course on, like, why keywords? How do they benefit you? And why is it something you should be tracking and getting data on?
Yeah. Okay. So this is search engine optimization, and I get actually asked this question all the time. Okay. So I think SEO, search engine optimization, it just blows by people's heads, but it's one of the most important things you can do for your business, because I'll give you a perfect example. Doug sold his gym in Santa Barbara, conditioning specialist, years ago. His SEO that he took the time to build is so strong that he still gets leads to this day that he sells to people in Santa Barbara.
Nice.
That's total evergreen. He's not paying for that. That's just evergreen marketing. So what is search engine optimization? I'll give you the quick details. When we were in Bend, Oregon, a few months ago, my wife broke a heel off her boot. What did she do? She went to the computer and said, boot repair, Bend, Oregon. Whatever came up is who she called. That's it. That's search engine optimization, right? Now, the keywords that we talk about is what she actually typed in. So she typed in boot repair, Bend, Oregon. That's the keywords. Now, why is that important? Because you need to find out what searches, what keywords are leading people to get to your business, right? And then you need to optimize your website. You need to optimize your social for those particular keywords. Now, here's the thing that's actionable for your audience, which is going to be a very, very fascinating thing right now, is the development of semantic search or voice search, right? So now, right now, as of the date of this recording and the last research I've seen, 60% of all searches are done on mobile, right? So that means I'm sitting with my cell phone, I'm going to type in boot repair, Bend, Oregon, right? Of those searches, 20% are currently done via semantic, which means people are saying, hey, Siri, find me the best boot repair in Bend, Oregon. And that's something we're watching very closely, because we're now seeing with, the Christmas boom, how many Alexas were sold, right? How many of these home units where people would just ask Alexa or ask Siri or ask all these things, and it's the development of artificial intelligence, which I can go off forever, but it's getting better and better and better.
I can go down on that with you.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's coming, and it's a real thing to consider, that automation and these things can replace commoditized services and products and businesses, that you're not trying to freak a person out, but you just do got to pay attention to history and evolution and innovation to understand. Like, I'm like, Southwest, I was just there this week. I'm like, there's no check person anymore. It's just drop your bag, tag yourself, go drop your bag. That baggage person that used to do it, gone.
Yeah.
It's getting where you're going to be able to do a workout and something's just telling you, like, bend over, you know what? Pull your shoulders back a little bit more and whatnot. It'll be a freaking chip in your ear telling you this shit.
Yeah, dude, let's talk about that in a minute, but I want to finish this point, because this is the actionable step for your listeners, is that, so if I'm old SEO, or, it's still current, but I'm typing in boot repair, Bend, Oregon. Now that's a keyword. Now I'm going to ask Siri, hey, who is the best boot repair company near me? Or who's the best boot repair company in Orange County? Okay. See how that changed, that keyword changed? Now it is, who is the best? It's natural language, and it's also use of pronouns. So if I was going to tell somebody, one of the people listening to this, if you're fitness professionals right now, figure out, most likely ask your clients, hey, if you're going to find me, what would you ask? And write a piece of content with that exact title. So say, if it's, I'm in Whitefish, what is the best CrossFit gym in Whitefish, right? I would write an article called "Who is the best CrossFit gym in Whitefish?" And I would tag that stuff, and I would make a piece of content that will now take advantage of that growing need for semantic and voice search. So that's one thing. Now, hopefully we don't lose too many of your listeners when we get into this future thing, because it's really going to freak people out.
I want them to make sure they picked up on that. So big thing to do, an actual thing, is like, go ask your audience, if you're going to find me, what would you ask?
Yeah. If you're going to ask Siri, if you're going to ask Siri, right? Because most people are familiar with that. They know what that means. Siri was kind of the first to the market. So they're like Kleenex, right? In that arena, people always know.
I mean, they only know really two of it. Like, if you're going to ask Siri or Alexa,
right? Right.
How are you going to find me? What would you ask?
Yep.
How would you say it?
And then write a piece of content on that.
And
With that exact
that goes on your blog, on your website.
website blog. Yeah, definitely goes on your website, wherever you want to. And, maybe make it a landing page, with some kind of call to action at the bottom or on the side or something like that. Somewhere where you just want to drive traffic. And then, start promoting it. Put it on social, put it on, you put in your email, put in all these things, that full stack that we're talking about for digital marketing, put it everywhere. Put it everywhere.
That's it. And so what's your take on when you have something like that? Because when you do that, you go and promote it with that viral nature on all media channels and all that stuff. Because hopefully they are using multiple social media channels, email at the very freaking least, at the very least, so that you could be organically driving people to your own content, which will naturally create the organic search engine optimization. Because you got that, getting hits on your site, and then there's paid getting people on there. What's your take on those two?
I believe, and we'll relate this to fitness, is that SEO, if you look at if you see a pyramid of fitness, right? And you look at whatever people put on the bottom, whether it's metabolic conditioning or nutrition, whatever that base of the pyramid is, that's your organic search engine optimization. Okay. From there, we work all the way up from email marketing to, all the way through the chain, data and analytics. The last thing we talk about really is paid traffic. So right now, Facebook advertising is iffy, right? Like I said, as the date of this recording, it's iffy. The costs are going to go up without a doubt, without a doubt. I think the biggest opportunity for paid traffic is now going to be Google AdWords. Why? Because most people don't truly understand it, which means there's a huge opportunity. And Facebook was easy, right? It's super easy to go on and just do some kind of Facebook advertisement. You don't really have to have that much knowledge. You could probably watch an hour or two of YouTube and produce your first ad. Google Words is a little bit more intimidating. AdWords is a little bit more intimidating for sure. But here's the difference. When you're going to Facebook advertising, right, you're essentially searching after cold traffic, people you haven't built a relationship with or anything like that. And maybe they're interested if you hit them on the right day at the right time. Just like SEO, Google AdWords is intent marketing. What does that mean? That means that someone is literally raising their hand and saying, I have a problem. I need to lose weight. I need to find a boot repair specialist. I need to do these things, right? Now, the organic SEO will capture that person and capture their attention immediately. Paid traffic on Google AdWords will also take advantage of that natural state that person's in. So that's where I would go right now with paid advertising. That's where we're directing our clients. And we're actually getting clients now coming from other agencies because we understand Google AdWords, right? And Facebook's just not, people aren't as interested anymore.
Well, I mean, I was just messing around with something before I got on with you, and I was looking at like a promote campaign for like my page, and it was like $50. The reach for the targeting I chose was like 35 to 70 people. Like it used to be in the hundreds. Now it's just come down. So you just watch. I was just like, you effers already just raised the price on the number of reach you want people to be paying for. That I remember Dan Kennedy was somebody years ago being like, hey, we're already hearing and seeing that Facebook is actually not truly delivering as much viewership as they say they are, that one day he's going to just grab you by the balls and pull down on them about what they can do. And he's been taught, he's like, that's why he was always like, direct mail. He's like, you better hit so many things that you control and own as assets, as compared to operating your business just on platforms that other people can turn the faucet on or off.
Yeah.
And I just remember, I'm like, thank God we were thinking about other shit for a long time, because I that's accurate thinking. Listen to a guy like that being like, I'm not out there thinking Facebook is the end all die all. So we spent time on our other assets and other things like that, it's going to be an interesting thing what starts to happen now. I'm pumped to work with you guys just on those Google AdWords more.
You nailed it, Vito. Is what can you control, What can you control as a business owner? You can control your website. You can control your organic search engine optimization. You can control your interpretation of data and analytics. And there's a few other things that you can definitely control. You can't control what Facebook algorithm is going to do. I've been saying this for months upon months. And when this algorithm change hit, I was like, yeah, unfortunately, we're right. I mean, Gary Vee's been talking about it for a long time. He's like, what happens when Coca-Cola pulls all their dollars off television and puts them into Facebook? That $9 per click or that $9 conversion is going to go up to 900, and the small business person's going to get effed. And it's already happening. So pay attention to things you can control and dump most of your time and resources there.
I like it. So hopefully you guys are paying attention to Google AdWords. Hey, do you have a course or anything? You guys putting out any white papers and stuff on Google AdWords?
We do not have a course, but we are, you're part of the training room private Facebook group. We are rebranding it soon to something very different and very modern. Not very different. It's still about fitness, and it's still about that business. It's still about training people, but we're going to be rebranding it. We're going to be putting a ton of free content on this stuff in there. We'll be doing a weekly Facebook Live in there, all kinds of great stuff. So, and we'll also have Q&A sessions. So we haven't developed a course for it yet, although I think my business partner, Doug, kind of locks himself in a room sometimes. And I think he's creating a course on it. Nobody knows for sure. And yeah, so there are stuff coming out, but I would say if you want it for free, that's where we'll be giving it out.
Okay, so that's in the training room currently. Mm-hmm. Down the road, do you know the rebranded name yet or anything like that? So if they
the modern fitness professional.
I like that. I think that so what's the modern fitness professional going to look like?
Whew. Okay. So I think about this all the time. And I would use a water polo analogy, but people don't know it. I'll use a hockey analogy, right? You should always skate to where you think the puck is going, right? You don't skate to where the puck is right now. And in my mind, I have a pretty clear vision of what the future for fitness industry is going to look like, and that's where I'm going. And I think it's this. I think, unfortunately, just like anything else, right? It's going to become, certain aspects are going to become a commodity, right? They're going to become automated, things like that. I mean, you're already seeing changes in the way big fitness clubs are charging their clients. They're trying new systems. Some are charging per the minute, or they're charging per use of a particular piece of equipment that is based upon demand of that equipment at certain times, right? So there's algorithms coming into it. It's pretty wild. It's scary, but it's happening, and you need to recognize it. So I think that more and more the people who are going to succeed, and even when I owned my gym, I started to see the infiltration of online coaching, right? My clients would be, hey, can I just pay for open gym? I'm like, why would you do that? Oh, because I have a new online coach. I'm like, shit, well, why don't you come to me? And they're like, well, this person particularly fits my needs. You know, I've talked to them, I have a relationship with them. So that's starting to come in. And as more and more people go online with their coaching career, that gym owner, unless you're offering just a high end, right? A very high end customer experience that can't be touched by online. You know, physically, it's something that people want to be at. It's a local community. Or you're teaching a skill that simply doesn't do very well online. In my world, it'd be Olympic lifting or gymnastics, right? Something like that, where you need to have, it's much more beneficial.
Specialized skill.
Specialty skill. Now, everyone else, you better start thinking about it. You better start thinking about getting something online and establishing that digital presence, because that's where people are going. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. You can either resist it or you could get run over, you know?
I mean, it's to your point. It's like, because it's going to be like fitness has I mean, Carl Deichler, owner of Beachbody, he's got a lot of data behind him. At a $1 billion company, he's got some good data. And he's just like, fitness is completely commoditized the way it is now. Now it's about what unique things can you go out there. And what you're finding is like, the person can be like, I really resonate with this person that's got this brand message, where it's just like, I deal with just like pregnant moms. So your client that might be coming to your gym likes your gym, but they're like, but that person's got the programs and the thing, and she's got kids, and she gets me, and she's talking about the real world, about like, oh my God, I got a kid on my hip, and I'm trying to make my food, and this and that, and whatnot. So they're talking about real life, not just the fitness workouts, not just the nutrition workouts anymore. They're literally like, this is how I deal with the kids. This is what I do when I haven't slept all night. This is how it is when in between breastfeeding and this and that and da-da-da. That the person's like, you get me. You know my world. And now they're getting relationship. They're getting unity. They're getting all that. That it's why I started to make the shift where I'm like, I love teaching people personal brands. I'm like, that's your personal brand taking shape. Like my wife took everything. She created the Sexy Confident Woman. She's like, what she does is not just train people. She teaches them to deal with their confidence issues, their self-esteem issues, to find high performance, to excel at work, to start going after their relationships. And now she's like, I'm in the business of creating sexy, confident women. I don't sell training programs. And that's how we're shifting things today. That, to me, that's the white whale or the big horizon that we could be going towards. But it means reinventing the way you've been doing things and understanding the uniqueness anymore, except for like kind of what you just said there isn't the training. I'm training Drew Brees. Yes, it is. Different thing. I know the guy, Todd Durkin trains Drew Brees. And the workout outside of quarterback stuff, Todd's always working with his head, working with his, and the relationship they have is very different today than just it's about anymore. I bring you to a place, you do workouts, here's your assessment, and awesome. It was 3 sets of 10. Yeah. Whatever it was. Change.
I mean, pretty soon I'm going to be type into I'm going to ask Siri, hey, I'm looking for an online coach who specializes in 41-year-old ex-water polo players with a bum left ankle who like to ski. And I'm going to find that coach because someone's going to specialize for that particular need, and I'm going to go straight to it, right? And that's just the way things are.
But you know what scares people about that though is they think that it's too small of a niche, so they won't want to go that as compared to you will be the big fish in the little pond. And those people, like, you wouldn't be like, you're not price sensitive to the guy's rates because you're like, you know me as a water polo player, you know that I like to ski, you know I have an injury, and you know what to deal with me in this world. And because I want to be on the mountain skiing my life, that's part of why my wife and I moved out here. I'm chasing a different ambition than just, am I okay with my abs here?
Yes.
Whatnot. So you're like, if it's $1,000 program, you're like, cool, because you're also like, I'm meeting other water polo players, I'm meeting other skiers and whatnot. Now there's events, retreat. It's a different, also it's experience. Yeah. It's no longer there. That to me is how we can get out of price commoditization and start building a tribe of people that you love being surrounded by, you nerd out on, and you'd be like, yep, ooh, you have a $10,000 retreat but I love it because I go there with my wife. It has an experience. I deal with stuff about skiing. I'm learning whatever rehab moves. That to me is a lot of the future of where we're going to be going.
And how much would I pay for that if I found that coach?
That's right.
I would pay a lot. And especially to find that tribe of people like me that I could talk to, I would pay a lot more.
And back, what was your first question of, are we doing what we want to be doing? And in essence, imagine that you're that trainer that you're like, I can't remember her name, but where she's like, all she did was build like a 6-figure online business, hockey goalies. That's it. And she's just like, all I do is I know how to create search engine optimization for them because I know how a hockey goalie would go online or look for help. I know what they're struggling with. I know what their problems are. I know what their wants are. So your voice quickly rises up in the ranks.
Yes.
Because you're the only one out there. Well, not always the only one, but there are very few. And when you know how to think the way you're talking about intent marketing, now you can drive people right to your offers. And this whole online marketing world seems less mysterious, less difficult. That I love it.
Marketing hasn't changed, Vito. It hasn't changed at all. We just have more tools. We have a different way of getting in front of our audience. That's it. Sales has changed. That's changed a lot, but that's a whole nother topic. But marketing hasn't changed. And that's the beauty of it all. And right now we are faced with the greatest opportunity ever in the fitness industry to go out and reach our ideal clients and really carve out who we want to work with, because that's the joy of it, right? So it's just this win-win-win, and people just need to get over that hump of the initial fear of change and then start doing it. And all I would say, and you probably coach people this way, carve out an hour on Fridays. Start figuring out who your ideal client is, who that person is, who can you serve, and then everything else from there falls in line. Then it's actually just a matter of logical steps forward. And it's
that's what a killer, like, you're reinforcing one of the things I say all the time, that it is clarity of your niche and your tribe should supersede you going and making products.
Everything.
Big mistake. Everybody makes, they jump, like, I laugh about it with my wife, because my wife was that X years ago before she met me. She she was working for Todd at FQ10 and all that. And she was like, I'm going to do my own thing and I'm going to do this thing. And she's like, I have this bridal boot camp that I run at Todd's. I'm going to make bridal boot camp DVDs. And she invests $25,000 to make bridal boot camp DVDs. And she's just like, this isn't really what I want to be doing.
Right. Yeah.
That question of yours. And then she's got $25,000 of DVDs sitting in her freaking garage.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I built the product before I knew who I wanted to work with, what I wanted to be surrounded by, what I loved doing, who the tribe actually want. And I just listen to FitPro after FitPro think about the product and the service before they think about, in a world today where you can make anything you want for anyone you want. Just get clarity first of truly, like you and I, we love serving the fitness industry. So I'm like, because both of us can take what we teach and go put it into any other market. Yeah. But we're like, we mastered this niche. I mean, I spent 8 years in this niche. Now I'm starting to scale a little bit more into the high performance space and the expert space because of relationships I'm making out there. But I'm like, I stayed focused until I got that niche humming, that niche making good money. Then I'm like, now I can go leverage into another niche. Just people don't sit down and do that work. They want to jump to the sexy like courses that they see online, like make $100,000 in 90 days and do this and that and just get this product out. And then they build a bunch of shit that they don't want later on. And then it goes to dust.
And I'm extremely guilty of all that. All of that. Do it all the time. And that's why you need a coach, because you need someone who's not in the weeds with you, right? To be able to like, hey, pull you on track, right? Pull you back on track. No, this isn't what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
It's because it's easy. I don't know. And maybe it's part of being just a man, but I chase squirrels all day long. All day long. And Doug and I, as business partner, our meetings are hysterical. We're like, we start for a particular reason, and the next thing you know, like 10 minutes later, we're completely down a different path, and we have to bring it back. So
I'm not gonna lie and not say I'm not guilty. Luckily, I've learned to just be like, I literally. Do you ever use? I have to have a Trello board with the exact agenda. And anytime they're off, they're like, you're off the agenda. I'm like, okay, good, perfect. Thanks for pulling me back. Excellent. We're just sticking to the agenda. Move it over to the vision board side, not the agenda side and whatnot. I'm always guilty of it. But I think this, and the thing that I think about the modern, like digital fit pro type thing, or this modern fitness professional, if they understand that it doesn't mean you have to give up live training. It just could be an evolution or a reinvention of what it looks like. Where you might be like, hey, if you still like having some private, awesome, but raise your rates because you're in that specialized world. So now you maybe need 5 to 10 people charging a premium so that you still get that live. Scale online. And if you really also want to do events, do retreats, charge that $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, depending upon, obviously this is years in, but you could be like, my wife puts on an event where she just takes 10 ladies to a freaking house. She teaches them breakfast in the morning, yoga and workouts, cooking. They do high performance work. They'll do meditation on the beach. They'll do just girl stuff. And she's just like $1,000 a person for the weekend, but 10 people. You're like, that's a 10 grand weekend. What Fit Pro wouldn't want to reimagine a life like that? As compared to, it used to take 10 grand. You had to train 60 sessions a week, all month long, that you're driving yourself to the ground. I just don't think that we're in this world today. We're going to be able to sustain that before we keep losing people, especially as they get older. And then they're like, I just can't train 60 hours anymore.
No.
What do you do?
Yeah. The average lifespan of a personal trainer is 8 years.
Ah, that's good. I didn't actually know that stat. That's a good
Yeah.
stat.
That's when burnout kicks in. Now I've talked to some outliers who've been personal training for 20 years plus, and still seeing, 20 or 30 clients per week. Now that's an outlier, but once you get them, I've interviewed them, but once you get them off camera, it's a very different story. Like,
And what does that life look like? Leaving at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., coming home at 8. You're like, I don't know, my kids' relationships are often strained. There isn't a life being lived that you're just like, I like in 2002 when I became a trainer, I was like, I don't know, 27, 28, whatever I was just like, didn't matter. I was single. You can run those hours all the time. Later on, you're just like, is that the life I want? Is that how I want my relationship? Is that how I want my family life to be?
yeah,
And I just don't see it sustainable. Then you get older, you can't even train, and then the income goes backwards. The income goes backwards as compared to being like, what if you took that whole career of what you learned and you turned around and started to build it into a like integrated product suite of products that you're like, now I can scale a lot of what I've learned, put it into courses online, and take people through those courses. And that's how we keep on raising our best clients. We raise our rates, create those high-end masterminds, retreats, events. I get uber excited about that future. I just think we're 2 years of people really starting to see personal brands come around more and not feel that the only, like you were '08 when you opened your studio?
Yeah, I started the business in '08, opened the doors in the beginning of '09.
Yeah, I was '05, '06-ish, '05, '05, because that's all we knew back then. The industry told us, do this, next move is go open your studio when you're out of hours, training and whatnot, open a studio. You don't want to work for them, open a studio. Now you can be like, be an online coach if you want, awesome. Or you can actually just be like a personal brand online and have products and courses. Doesn't mean you have to do online training where you're like, I actually create your sets and your reps and things like that. You're like, I can have courses and have general workouts, general nutrition stuff and whatnot. But now I'm teaching you mindset, development, family, whatever it is. Today somebody could get paid where you're like, you are really good at getting your kids to calm down and not throw a tantrum. Moms would be like, the tantrum formula. Moms would be like, motherfucker, I will pay $10,000 for that course. Right now, I will pay for that. And you're just, they don't think that you could take something that you learned and got really good at and package it out of course when somebody else is struggling with that problem. Kind of like what you guys are doing right now. Like I'm guilty of it. I hate looking everywhere for the data. When you guys got me on the call to be like, would you like to see what streamlined data looks like? I was like, is this what it could be? Is this how much easier this shit could be?
Yeah, it's what it is now.
And I'm like, come on, dudes. I'm like, that's solving a problem that the market needs and then aiming your course and your product at that, not trying to create the product first. Be like, what's the need? What's the problem? Cool, let's make the solution match that. Who do we target to? Right now, you guys like, we're going to target it to the fitness industry, get that going. Down the road, we can scale. That to me is smart business building. That's smart brand building and whatnot. When is that open out there for others yet?
Yes, it is.
Dashboard thing?
Yeah, if you go to fitnessmarketingalliance.com/dashboard, you can find the details on it. And well, I'll give you, for your listeners, I'll give you a coupon code, right? For whoever you want, I'll get it done today. And I'll send it over
Eric, do me a favor, repeat that because you cut out for 1 sec on that.
Yeah, it's fitnessmarketingalliance.com/dashboard.
Okay,
and
awesome.
We'll give you guys a coupon code too.
Oh, you're the best. So, hey, wrap up for 2 seconds on what you're, looking forward. You're like, if I would give the industry 1-2 pieces of advice about this modern professional getting off this crash diet marketing, what would that be? And then tell us where, is that the only place you want them to connect with you over at that digital dashboard? You want them to connect with your market alliance?
Yeah. So I think this will resonate with your audience because they're already much more in tune. But I've been asked this question a bunch, and I think you have to start today, starting your online presence, whatever it is, right? Get that revenue stream going. And step 1 is take a good hard look, maybe ask your clients of what your true core competency is. What is it that you do better than anybody you know, right? And then take that and keep diving down until you find what that true specialty is and where you can truly scale if you went global, right? Stop thinking local, start thinking globally, help throughout the planet and how big your audience is. But really just step one is just take the first step, is just carve out time this week, today, tonight, whatever it is, and really start thinking hard of what your core competency is. Mine personally is I build relationships really well, right? So I naturally kind of fit into what I'm doing now. I realize that, right? I've been told that a number of times. So that was my kind of personal superpower, but everyone's different. So that's what I would suggest people is just take the time, carve it out today and just get started, because once you get started, it's super fun. It's really exciting. And you just have to, you have no choice. Okay. If you're in the fitness industry, you have to.
Okay. I mean, like on a shameless, like telling my audience, never forget, like that's part of what we teach in the Clear Vision Planner, hence the name. Get the clear vision first. Let's plan that, and then you keep moving up. So you can always go to vitolafata.com or clearvisionplanner.com and get help with how to get clarity of that core competency, the tribe, and all that kind of good stuff like that. Now, where can the audience find out a little bit more about the Marketing Alliance to make sure that, and also I know you got a podcast. So I want to make sure they know how to do that, because I'm a big advocate of like learn from as many people on an industry, because maybe I don't have the right tool for you, Eric does. And I want you guys to know about each of these resources so that if I ain't serving you the way you need and Eric can, get dialed in. All we care about as business owner, as coaches to the industry, is that you are getting what you need, because the world needs our businesses to be doing better.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's, I think you and I agree that the scarcity mindset needs to be pushed behind. There's plenty of clients out there. So people want to reach me. There's three ways. You can just just email me, Eric, ERIC @fitnessmarketingalliance.com. You can go check out my podcast. It's everywhere. It's on iTunes. It's on YouTube. It's the Future of Fitness podcast and YouTube interview show. And then finally, you can just find me on Facebook, which is probably the easiest place. I'm on it all the time. So hit me up, friend me, and then just send me a direct message.
Well, considering Facebook only cares about friends and engagement that way now, and no more about ads, connect and make friends, my man. That's killer. Dude, I just want to take a couple minutes and just thank you as always for coming on, sharing, doing the work that you're doing out there. I'm grateful for you, the relationships that we're all starting to build. So I'm humbled to have had you on. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, man. I'm truly honored to be on your show, and I hope I helped some people today.
I know you did, my man. And all right, peeps, that's a wrap for this episode for the Fitnesspreneurs Life Show. Keep getting out there. Go invest in your visions, in your dreams, and what we've got to do in this world to go out there and change these lives. Peace.